expert. Who's that guy in that orange shirt? Who must be the fence expert? It's almost time to talk about the fences. It's time to discuss operations and expenses. It's time, it's really time to elevate small businesses. It's time for Joe to drop his knowledge. It's relentless. This rhyme of mine is getting a bit ridiculous. So here we go. We're live with Joe. Enjoy the show.
What is up, Finch fam? So good to be back with you guys for another week of Ask the Experts Live Q&A, where I bring on a guest from somewhere else in the industry and just chat with them for a while. Now, today's is going to be a little bit different. If you guys have been following any of our social media content, you know that we just wrapped up season 1 of Unhinged. We're going to get to that in a second, but like I said, today's episode will be a little bit different, and that we'll be recapping season 1 and speculating on season 2. Before we get into that, if you're listening to this as a podcast or on the podcast, you are listening to a recorded version of a live conversation we host most every Saturday. Starts at 10 a.m. Central, goes for about an hour, or maybe longer, depending on where the conversation takes us. If you'd like to participate in the conversation live, have a chance to have your questions answered, be sure to check us out on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Just search Joe Everest. There's a good chance you'll find the channel page, and you'll see the live link that goes out every single Saturday that we have live. Now, that being said, for the next couple Saturdays, we won't be live. So we've got a personal commitment next weekend, and then after that, we're just kind of going all over the place. We've got AFA West Coast Fin Show coming up, followed by the AFA Midwest Golf Tournament. Those are several weeks away, but yeah, so it'll be a little hit or miss here for the next couple weeks. Hope you guys don't mind that. As you guys are coming in, be sure to drop, if you're watching live, be sure to drop questions in the comment section, or just feel free to say hi, because who knows where this conversation is going to take us once we get started. Before we really get going, though, we need to take a second and say thank you to the Expert Professional Wood Care team. Caleb, Ashley, and the whole team take incredibly good care of us. They will take incredibly good care of you as well. Now, we've been a customer longer than they've been a sponsor. They're a sponsor because we were a customer. We love their stain. I say we, I mean me and the whole team. We don't worry about a chemical smell. We don't really worry about just what might be. It's a pretty safe, it's low VOC type stain. It's really safe, and it doesn't stink like other stains might. We tried a lot of them. We settled on Expert Professional Wood Care products. If you're in the staining business, staining side of the fencing industry, maybe, or maybe you're just thinking about getting into it, be sure to check out their free Facebook group and reach out to the team. I'm sure they'd be happy to send you out some samples. All right. All that being said, if you read the description, and if you've been watching any of these recaps, you know who today's guest is. The one, the only, Matt the Miracle. Hello, Rachel.
Hey, Joe. Hey, I thought Matt the Miracle was here.
Is Matt around?
I had your StreamYard link, so I jumped on because I've been looking for him everywhere. And I thought, well, if I jump on, I'm going to be able to actually touch base with him. But
okay,
he's not here.
Okay. Well, all right. Well,
is he not?
No, I don't. I see what you see right now. I'm seeing you and
just me. Oh my gosh!
I'm not seeing a Matt.
I haven't heard from him. I haven't talked to him. I do not know what's going on. Like literally, I thought this was my last ditch effort. Hey, I'm going to jump on Joe's show so I can like get a word in with Matt or just kind of find out what's going on. So,
well, if we know how close Matt is with his team, so if his team doesn't know where Matt is, this is maybe a bit concerning.
So we have this new fence outside our office. I guess, Matt was a little concerned about people driving by and seeing different things, in our yard, and just wanted to kind of conceal that a little bit.
Sure.
I don't know. Kind of reminds me of some techie things going on. Last week, Matt was down in Texas, and that was kind of weird. He was at some disclosed location, undisclosed location that it sounded really tinny and high tech, and I don't know what's going on. Honestly, I don't.
Okay, so but you've seen him since then, or have you?
No, not really. A couple, like maybe was it last week? I guess I saw some. We're out here in the Midwest. We've got soybeans and corn all around us. Okay. There was some talk on the news with something going on, some strange lights or whatnot.
Have you seen his truck? Have you seen his Bronco?
No, I haven't seen any of his vehicles on campus.
Okay. Rachel, this is a little weird.
It's really weird.
We're recapping season 1, which the storyline is a guy goes missing when, after visiting a techie place. Matt has, it sounds like, gone missing after visiting a techie place. Both of these storylines are now in Nebraska. Now, Lucky's story is in Noware. Don't you dare call it nowhere. It is Noware.
Definitely Noware.
But they're both in Nebraska. Loosely kind of like the Waverly feel, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, let's
Joe, I jumped on here because I needed to talk to him. I needed to know what's going on. I don't know if this is life dictating
Okay.
fiction. Or-
Yeah. Well, it is it is odd timing that we're recapping season 1 and speculating about season 2.
Right.
That is a guy that goes missing in Nebraska, and for the recap, we cannot find a guy in Nebraska who is a fence guy. Both fence guys.
Yes.
Both have recently visited a tech place. Interesting.
Right.
Let's put a pin in this for a second.
Okay.
So everyone at home's probably like, they came here for the recap of season 1, speculation about season 2. Are you comfortable recapping season 1?
You know what? I'm gonna have to step into his shoes because
Okay.
he's not here. And you know, as Joe, things happen in life, and we have to move the needle forward. So yeah, let's go.
And let me throw this speculation. Well, let's speculate about Matt later because I've got a few thoughts. But season 1. So we start off with how do we start this off? We start off with a fence project that is behind schedule.
Mm-hmm.
That is the supervisor, the project superintendent, gone, just gone to the wind. He's given up and he's left. I guess. Do we know he left, or no one's seen him for a while?
He's just missing.
Well, Lucky's missing, but the site. I'm just putting this together. The project. Do we know that he left for sure? The project manager. I'll have to go back now. I've got to go back and re-listen to.
You know what?
Episode 1.
I need to listen to I want to listen to the whole season from 1 throughout now.
Yeah.
Again, see what I missed.
Yep. Well, because when they're a week apart, there's some things that just don't get retained.
Right.
So yeah,
right.
Starting at 1. But okay, so project manager's gone. He's gone. Crew's kind of demoralized because there's some weird stuff going on at this project, Scarecrow Tech. There's like animal screams in the night. There's weird earthquakes that are taking out large sections of fence that we're being told is like a testing malfunction or something like that. The big storyline here is that Lucky Pickett has gone missing.
Right.
So we find his truck out at Scarecrow Tech in the woods or the bushes.
Right.
So we're kind of wondering about now. It's got Sheriff Sheeter. Come to find out, his jacket in the truck that has some blood on it.
Some blood.
So
it's
it
never
kind
good.
of. That's the first time we've come to wonder about this Sheriff Sheeter. We'd already met him, but he seemed like he's just kind of a forgetful guy. I mean, he forgets his gun a couple different times. He forgets all sorts of stuff. So he reminds us of, now, listen, for those viewers out there, if you are a small town sheriff, I do not say this to, there's no disrespect intended. There's none of that. But he does sound like what people portray a small town sheriff to be like. Right?
Like Barney Fife.
Barney Fife. That's
Except
right.
he's got a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, this Barney Fife, we come to find out, he's a little aggressive too. And he's chip on his shoulder. He still holds some grudges from back in the good old high school football days. That comes out that him and Lucky
people get stuck in those high school years, like.
Yeah. The ones that peak in high school never really quite leave, is what it seems like. Which it is funny that this story. What makes this story so funny and so relatable is there are these tidbits. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. Or yeah, I've met someone like that before. So all throughout the journey, Ben Post is kind of coming in and out. He kind of helps guide us through. He's finding different things, but Ben is like one of these like jack of all trades guys.
I love that guy.
I do too.
He has the best one-liners.
He is. Let's think about it. So he's going to be a realtor, or he is a realtor.
Almost a lawyer.
Party
clown.
He's a pro-am bird watcher or something like that. Carpet cleaner. We find that out towards the end.
Yep.
What else is he? Like
that's a little bit of a nugget in there, I think. The whole carpet cleaner thing, because he seems to have an in with
the mayor.
Was it the mayor that he had to clean the carpet?
Yeah, he cleaned
And
barbed
not lattice?
wires.
Not lattices? Okay.
No,
All
no,
right.
he was no, because barbed wire, the mayor. So she had got when she got dropped in on, she got
Barbara.
mud, Barbara
Right.
wire. Yeah, she had gotten mud on her fancy rugs,
Right.
and so then Ben mentions that he had just cleaned some rugs for Cedar Enterprises, which Cedar Enterprises is who we learned sells 500 acres of land to Scarecrow for a big expansion. And so we think we understand. We know that the land was sold by Cedar Enterprises. So we go to confront the sheriff again. There's several confrontations with the sheriff, but then Ben pops up, says, "No, actually, I cleaned carpets for Cedar Enterprises, and it was the mayor." The
Right.
mayor's carpets. So Ben's one of these characters that just keeps on popping up, in a really helpful way. He just can't help but finding himself right in the middle of everything, which, like, there's a little in the back of my mind. I was like, he's in all the right places at all the right times. Like, I wonder if he's involved, which, not that we know of, right? So let's back up a little bit more. So, gone missing. We meet Jackson first we meet him at the hardware store, and Jackson offers to help, and no, thank you. But Jackson also unveils the My Salesman tool. So he
Right.
uses My Salesman and his business, and of course that's not what we're interested in, or anything like that. And then come to find out, so this 500 acres we're trying to measure for a fence. And what were the guys using? The guys were using like a tape measure.
A tape measure.
Well, because the wheel is in the project manager's truck. He took it with him.
I tell you, the wheel. I mean, even if they're in the cornfield, it's going to be bumpy ground, and that wheel is going to go off. And
Yep.
I always am very I don't know, a little OCD about using the wheel. Like I start, and then I'm like, oh, did it just creep up a little bit, and I haven't even started yet? And then I go back. I mean, like,
Yep.
come on, try to do a cornfield with a wheel
Nah.
or tape measure.
Or a tape measure, much less.
Yeah, exactly.
So he ends up using, they end up using the My Salesman quote tool, which Jackson sees. Right. So because those of you that are My Salesman customers, you've got a whole behind the scenes reporting feature that shows you drop offs. It also shows you leads. Right. So there's a couple different here, but the drop offs is where Jackson saw it. So he saw who it was. He saw that where they measured, what the footage was, not how many foots were there. Got all that figured out. So we deny it. No, that wasn't us. But everybody knows we use
because you know what? Because My Salesman, it is tracking all that data. So
right.
Billy thought he was kind of sneaking in under the radar with not finishing the program, but My Salesman captures every bit of data that user puts into the program. So we know who they are.
We know who everybody is.
And, it's funny because I just want to, slap some of those characters, because Billy's like, oh, well, that's how much Jackson
gets
for a fence,
That's
well,
right.
any legit fence contractor knows about what the other fence contractor is going to be selling that fence for. And
but we'll give Billy a little bit of leeway here because he's new to this market. Right.
True.
So they got brought in to this. Now, it's obviously, I don't know we ever know where Billy's from, but it's a ways away. Like, he's staying at a motel.
It's in North Carolina, Greensboro.
Okay. Oh, Greensboro. Okay. Now, I missed that tidbit.
Greensboro. That's a little bit of a jaunt to Nowari, Nebraska.
No kidding. So maybe he's not familiar, but that's a fair point. Right. And so that's, when we're watching discussions in these Facebook groups or whatever, that seems to come up as like a common, like, well, I don't want my competitors knowing what I charge.
Right.
Like, listen, if someone were to walk in and offer me $1 million if I could get a price range of where my competitors were, I bet I could get pretty close.
I think you could.
because customers are customers, right?
Right.
And so they'll share everyone else's numbers with you to try to see if you'll compete with them or if your specs are the same or whatnot. Usually it's price. They're wanting to try to hammer price.
Right.
But we all buy same materials, right? And our labor is likely all in the same ballpark. Now, one thing we've talked about is the danger of using somebody else's numbers, right? So we're all a little bit different because your overhead can be different or this or
Right.
that. But we know a price range. If you told me, hey, can you get within $10 a foot of whoever's competitor's price on whatever product we're talking about, I bet we could probably do it. If we've been in the market for any length of time, we've probably got a pretty good idea where they are with, like I said, within $10 a foot or so.
Right.
But so it's just funny to hear Billy say that too. He gets how much? Well, okay. But he's new to town. He's new to
He
town.
is. I still wanted it just so. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
So
Let me tell you.
yeah. So Billy finds himself, behind schedule. The earthquakes come and knock out a bunch of fence. He's got this 500 acres of additional fence, and it's still the same deadline. Still got to get it going. Still have to get it going and get it done. Now, he also has a little bit more pressure from home. So what we learn is the line of credit's tapped out, loans are depleted.
Right.
There's really there's no more money coming from home, right? And which the hardware store gave him a little bit of they gave him a project account. So they said that he could settle up with them once the project's done. But you can imagine, well, what we find out is those guys at Ozark Wire Works, they are cash on delivery.
Right.
They need paid before the wire gets off the truck, which not far from the truth in some cases, but I think we've all been there too, to where, and this hasn't happened in a while, but it seemed like when I was a kid, it seemed like the office and the drivers didn't communicate very well, because the drivers would say, hey, I'm cash on delivery here.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not. We've got an account. It's set up. We've been using it for years. You drop off the material. I sign for it. They send us a bill. Nope. I'm pretty sure they told us cash on delivery. Well, let's call the office in and just get this straightened out. So that was a little bit of a relatable moment too. Of,
right.
Like,
and
we're not unloading this until we get paid.
And I think Matt's probably brought it up on several different occasions that it's really those relationships and those people that you do business with. They know who you are and they know that you will come through. So, but I am not the owner. I can't imagine what like Billy and Waverly, like, okay, their hands are tied. They have no money. There's no way to keep going. So that's got to be overly stressful to the point that it probably even harms physically and mentally with dealing with that kind of stress. So
you would think so. Absolutely. Well, and they had this additional fence put on them, which I'm sure is a blessing and a curse at the same time, because now they've got to front that money, and payroll's clicking along every hour of every day. And there's just a lot of expenses coming through. So Billy learns, Billy's already figured out, about Lucky being missing, but then he finds out that there's a reward. So that's really what gets Billy very involved here, is he's like, wait a minute. We need a little bit of money. There's a little bit of money for a reward. This could get us through. This could float us. So he gets even more involved, right? And there's all this that comes out. So they get into Lucky's place. Well, so Ben gets caught outside Lucky's place and like sneaking around. And this is where, like, in the back of my mind, I was like, I wonder this Ben Post. He gets inserted all throughout the story. I wonder if there's a reason. Well, he was just looking for a sewing machine, because he had loaned it to Lucky, which we find out why later on. But I didn't think to even wonder about. Here's the funny thing: is there's so much just like little random funny stuff that's inserted into the story.
Right.
You almost think that's a random thing. He's like, yeah, just trying to get my sewing machine. He's like, oh, okay, of course, like everyone does. Sure.
But it is Nowari, Nebraska. We still use sewing machines. And
sure.
We still
Sure.
sew our own clothes over here in this flyover state.
Yeah. One way or
We
another.
have home ec. We still have home ec in the public school system.
Do you?
It's not called home ec. It's like consumer science or something.
Yeah. So our school district, well, we're in the middle of about 5 school districts, but they just started bringing back like ours. We're not really a rural school. We're a suburban school, I guess, but they've got an ag and a 4-H. But so they also just built out a massive what do they call it? Basically like trades training where they've got a welding shop that would make a lot of people jealous. And they're welding up. So I got introduced to it because they're doing a lot of welded fence, so a lot of welded rail fence, because they've keep cattle and they do all that. But outside of our school, like the school I went to, we did a 20-year reunion a couple years back, and we went to go through the new school because it had just gone through a massive remodel, and like the shape of the school is vaguely the same, but everything else, you walk in the place and everything's backwards and upside down.
Those kids have it good, don't they? They got some nice facilities.
Rachel, they've got air conditioning in this place, like central air, like not a teacher splurged to have a window unit. Every room in this building has air conditioning, which is a bit mind blowing, and central heat, which means you don't have the boiler heaters that are either -20 or 120. So they just really don't. Yeah, they don't know how good they've got it. It's for real.
That was an old building. That was an old.
It was
boiler
an
room
old building.
Brings me back to the Freddy Krueger.
Well, yeah. So it's funny how we turn into our parents, where I'm like, listen, kids, you don't know how good you've got it. Yeah,
Right.
I've got a sophomore now, and so she tells me all about how rough school is. Like, no.
We had asbestos on the walls.
Yeah, lead paint. That was
lead
a thing.
paint.
Like, listen, I don't want to hear about how lunch got cut short by 3 minutes. Like, I really don't. You know what? If I had it as good as you had it now, back in my day, there's no telling what I would have done. Sounds like a lot like what my dad said. Uphill both ways through the snow all year and all this stuff. But anyway. No home ec is where I was going with that. No home ec anywhere. No, what did we call it? We didn't call it home ec. I think we called it life skills or something like that. But when I was in middle school, we had it, and they even made the boys do the cooking too. We were kind of unsure about this. We burned a lot of stuff, lot of stuff, and so there's like a wood shop next door. So the girls went through the wood shop, which that was slightly concerning too, because just like if we burn something, you just throw it away. If you have an accident over in the wood shop,
somebody's losing a finger.
Yeah, that's a bigger issue. Anyway, I digress. Noire has sewing machines.
Sewing machines.
And so we call back to that later. But we gain access into Lucky's place, and there's like this wall of it makes me think of like these
CSI?
action thriller movie. Yeah, CSI or just any conspiracy theorist room. They all have a room. Right, and it's just like pins and thread and pictures and names and this, and like a hypothesis is usually scrawled out like with a question mark or whatever. So this is where Brad and his team kind of threw me off the scent a little bit, because it had mayor, but then it had ally with a question mark. That's what I remember. Now I have to go back and re-listen to that because maybe I misunderstood who we were thinking she was allied with, but I thought her and Lucky were allies. Now, They were both running for the mayor's race, which is an important thing because we learned later on the mayor actually threatened Lucky because she's like, basically, hey, you better drop out of the race or, I'd hate for something bad to happen to you, one of those sorts of things. And, of course, the standard, like, is that a threat? Well, I don't know. No, I'm just saying something weird could happen. And then he goes missing. So, like, wait a minute, that's weird. The mayor on his wall said ally, but now, not an ally. Definitely not an ally. All of this is going on. Sheriff Sheeter gets involved a few times. There's a few scuffles. The big one is at the bowling alley. And towards the end, when Billy hears this about Cedar Enterprises sold the land to Scarecrow, so he thinks he's solved at least this portion of the puzzle. Sheriff's getting ready to bowl a perfect game. Is it a game, a round? A
Game.
match?
I think it's a game.
Okay.
Right?
Perfect game. A perfect bowling period of time. I don't know.
Yeah. Nonetheless, he ruined it.
He was getting ready to win. He was getting ready to be perfect. And then Lucky storms in, like always, or not Lucky, but Billy storms in. But this sounds a lot like how Lucky in the sheriff, like he stole the sheriff's like moment of glory kind of thing.
Again.
Billy does too.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, because he even says, he goes, not again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so they got in a bit of a scuffle. Well, so Billy confronts him. Sheriff Cedar says, that's not me. I'm Sheeter, not Cedar. Oh, yeah. And then that's when Ben Post pops up. He's like, actually, I know Cedar Enterprises, and it's the mayor. Well, so then, of course, Billy's like, well, hey, listen, sorry, Sheriff. No harm, no foul. And Sheriff's like, no, absolutely not. I want to redo my round, that 10th frame, and I want an apology. And the guy over the loudspeaker's like, that's not happening. No rebowls, not in the tournament or whatever. It's against league rules. That's what it was. So that really set the sheriff over the top, and him and Billy get into it. And the sheriff would have had him, he says, if he weren't wearing bowling shoes. Because, I mean, those bowling shoes are hard to walk in general, depending on how new they are and how slick they are. But anyway, so got in a bit of a scuffle. Not the first time that sheriffs got into it with Billy, though.
No.
Well, we're not sure who threw the brick, but that's where
they got into a little bit of a scuffle before, though.
When you arrest him?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. So they
kicked out. Did he kick out his taillight or something like that?
He did. He broke out his taillight. That's
Mm-hmm.
right. That's right. Because he pulled him over. He's been warning him off, like trying to find Billy or trying to find Lucky. And so he keeps warning him. He's like, quit investigating. Stop doing this. Well, he does confront him, breaks out taillight, tells him to just, that was, I think he was telling him to stop making him look bad. Right? The sheriff's like, hey, listen, I don't need you bringing evidence back into town, doing my job for me. To which Billy's probably like, well, if you would do your job, I wouldn't have to do it for you.
Right.
But so there's a bit of a scuffle there. There is an arrest that later on because again, they get into it about stop doing my job. What we think is we think sheriff's involved in this somehow. Right. Because as soon as Billy finds something out or is a little bit further down the trail, sheriff's there to derail him.
Right.
So we think he's got something to do with it. Couldn't find out, really, he's just tired of getting shown up. Like he's been shown up kind of all his life. And he's
all
just
his life.
tired
Started in
of it.
high school. Yep.
Yep. He's just tired of it. So we get to the end of it. And we find out Lucky's not missing at all.
No.
Like he's in Vegas. He's an Elvis impersonator, right? Oh, because we got, all right. So jump the shark a little bit on this one. So Lucky's wife, which we never actually hear from her. Apparently she has also disappeared, no, it wasn't. It was Jackson's wife. So Jackson's wife and Lucky were taking
he was doing
lessons.
Voice lessons.
That's what it was.
He was throwing somebody. I can't even remember who said it, but they were trying to throw a little bit of fly in the ointment. Where he's like, was it Barbara? Barbara Wire?
Yeah, Barb did. That's right. Because she's like, well, you ought to be talking to Jackson. I'm surprised you're not talking to him. And Billy says, well, why would I talk to Jackson? Well, Jackson's wife had been going over to Lucky's place in the evenings, and I don't know.
Small town gossip.
That leads into a confrontation on the job site, right? And we also, these confrontations all kind of blend together. But at one point, Billy had confronted Jackson because Jackson had gotten the crew started driving the post instead of setting the post. They just watched Sean King's video. Now they were going to do it that way. Well, then there's a big blow up, and then at some point there's this confrontation to where Jackson says, well, yeah, she was over there. She was giving him voice lessons. Voice lessons? Why? It's like, you'll have to ask him. I don't know.
You know what? Bill is kind of a hothead.
Yeah. And he likes to jump to conclusions.
He jumps to conclusions. He's a hothead, and he knows what's best. I don't think I ever heard him listen to any of his crew or listen to Jackson, and he put up a little bit of a fuss when Jackson wanted to drive the post, which again, that's kind of like life and drama and what's it or dry pack, what's it and pounding, what's going on here?
Yeah, there's always some dilemma. But so driving the post, Jackson had actually caught up. Right, they weren't behind anymore. They're getting ready to get ahead, and then Billy kind of just jumps to conclusions. And like you said, he's a bit of a hothead. So he shuts it down. Jackson leaves. All of this,
and Jackson left before things kind of exploded because Jackson was pretty upset. So he contained himself rather well. And the thing is he came back. Right?
He did. Well, so they get in this big fight. So Billy confronts Jackson. Jackson says, you know what? I'm going to leave before I say something I shouldn't, which is new to you. Because Billy, the previous scuffle, Billy had just jumped in like a bulldog and clamped onto this idea that he was right and the guys were wrong. And then he had to go, back that truck up a little bit, buy him dinner. Do all that. So Billy's not the greatest at holding his tongue. So Jackson says, hey, listen, I'm going to be the bigger guy here and I'm leaving. Like, you can figure all this out on your own. I'm out of here. Well, then that night, that's when Billy gets arrested, gets thrown in jail. And that's also where we learned that Ben is, only a few hours away from becoming a lawyer. But then Ben's cellmate hates lawyers, just with a fiery passion. So Ben says, well, then I guess it's a good thing I'm not one then.
Right.
Not a lawyer, not at all. But so Jackson hears about this, knows just going to throw this project off again, gets back in the saddle, doesn't tell the guys about it, just jumps back in, and they get to building fence so that when Billy shows up, they're actually ahead of schedule. Everyone's good. Everyone's fine.
Jackson doesn't keep that chip on his shoulder. He knows what needs to get done. And that's the part of leadership where, you know what, you just have to, again, keep moving the dial forward and learn how to be that servant leader and get out there and help those guys so you can get the best out of them.
Yep. Leading by example. Absolutely. So then the wire truck shows up on the job site, and driver's not going to unload it. Says it's COD. Well, that puts Billy in a jam because we know that all the lines of credit are tapped out. We've also learned that none of the other banks are going to issue a line of credit. Like, the well is dry. So they got to figure this out. Well, then Jackson says, well, let's be partners then. I'll help pay the debts and I'll help run the crew. And, there's some sort of arrangement about splitting the payout on it, I'm sure. But Jackson steps up and says, let's get it done. Like, let's keep this thing moving. So
let's be a JV.
A JV. That's right.
I had a lot of questions after that,
that's a whole story by itself. How
that
situation works.
I've listened to Matt so long. I'm like, okay, so if it's a JV, then is there one binding agent for one company that, they have to use, or if it's both, or, that's a whole segment. And, I'm just, that's very deep in the business side of things, but it got my wheels turning.
Sure.
How does that work? How does that work?
Well, that's it. Yeah. If how much has been paid so far. So if Jackson's coming up, but maybe the wire's the last part of it. So he's not paying for a lot. So is it fair share, right? If he's paying whatever, 10% or 15% of the debt, does he get 15% of the profit, or how does that work?
What, Joe? So this is the first thing that it kind of came to my mind too. I'm like, okay, so Jackson wants to do a joint venture here, but I mean, how much does the installing rabbit enclosures really pay? Like, how much revenue is his company really got coming in?
Jackson's not one to talk about what he's got going on.
No, he's not. What's his RPP?
Well, it's a pretty closed book. It's a pretty closed book. Now, we just know he did the rabbit enclosure because he mentioned that. He said, hey, I just wrapped this up. I probably have some time if you need some help. That's how he came on in the beginning. But maybe, I mean, you never know. Maybe Jackson like hit it big when he was young, and now he's just semi-retired doing rabbit enclosures around town. You never know. Never know. There's some guys like that, you know, I mean, that's always the dream, right? Is to hit it big in your younger years, and then you just kind of like semi-retire and coast during the later years of life. Maybe that's where Jackson's at. He made his fortune in the beginning, and now he's just building rabbit enclosures. Doesn't sound like a bad gig.
Doesn't sound like a bad gig.
It sounds, I mean, with the exception of Scarecrow and people disappearing, it doesn't sound like a bad place to be.
Well, you know, people are scared of the unknown, right?
That's true.
Especially in small town USA. You know, all the people are like, well, what are they doing? And they're encroaching on our beautiful, serene countryside. And I'm going to have to open my door up and look at, you know, a big wall and tech and stuff going on in there. And that's not what I signed up for. So the battle is real in real life. We see that every day. We see it here in our town, Waverly. Noire, never mind.
So we saw it come through Republic where I live. Well, probably 3 or 4 years ago now. 3 or 4 years ago. Amazon came in with a distribution center,
right?
And so where they sat their site at used to be just pasture. It was on a 2-lane highway. It's well situated, but before that, it was just all farmland. I mean, this land would have gone for $25,000 an acre, $50,000 an acre, something like that. Now, 3 or 4 years down the road, Amazon's got one building in. It's one of those worst held secrets or whatever that one of the architect firms in town has already drawn up plans for another one. They're putting hotels out there. They're putting mixed use restaurant, retail, apartments, all that stuff. So now land out. Ooh, that's fancy. Now land out there is $325 an acre. So you add 300,000 an acre on for the Amazon tax out there, just to be near Amazon. So I think, again, something that can be, I think most everyone can relate to. Big company coming in. People aren't necessarily in love with it. I mean, people love Amazon, but people don't want one in their backyard. You know, because now it's trucks going up and down the road at all hours. Now they're widening the highway, which means they're shutting it down from time to time, which has everyone upset. And no one wants the big chain restaurants coming to town. So that's a topic of conversation. And do we need hotels or do we not need hotels? And I don't understand that argument. People arguing against hotels are like, well, you know, if you get more hotels, you get more transient folks come through. Like, I don't think those two are related, actually. Like, I don't think transient folks stay at the Howard Johnson, but maybe,
I think so.
maybe. I don't know. I haven't stayed at Howard Johnson specifically, so maybe. I don't know. But it's just funny how towns can get really riled up when a corporation in general shows up.
And you know what? Lattice speaks a million different languages, apparently.
Yeah. Lattice is a woman of many talents. Many talents. So
I kind of like her.
Well, yeah, but she never lets you know when she's on the phone.
No.
You know what I mean? Like I
think that's a little rude, though.
Right. Like Billy thought that she was proposing to him at one point. Like, let's get married. Let's do all this. He's like, whoa. I am married, actually. So, and then kind of find out she's on the phone with her boyfriend / now fiance or something. So, yeah, you can never know when she's talking to you or talking to somebody else, which I think we can all picture these kinds of people too. You know, they just always have an earbud in and they're like, oh, hello? Yep. Okay. All right. But anyway, so
some people just need to feel important as well.
Well, maybe that's it. Well, it sounds like she's pretty important because she's talking to like dignitaries and like all these important people at country level important bureaucrats and all this. And which also makes you wonder, like, what's Scarecrow Tech doing? That the lady that's running the project management here on this place is also talking to like ambassadors and such.
Well, wasn't one of the delegates actually a salon worker? She came in to do her nails and.
Well, that's right. No. That's the mayor. That's the mayor.
Oh yeah, why do I keep getting those two mixed up?
That was the mayor because she said, she said she had a very, very important meeting with one of the constituents.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then it was her nail appointment. Yeah, she's like, just have her wait. I'll be done with Billy in a minute. But so 500 acres gets sold. The mayor is not without fault. Maybe not. She's not apparently has anything to do with Lucky's disappearance. Going to find out, but she's also selling city land to Scarecrow, which 500 acres. So it's not like a park. Either.
And she's also using taxpayer money to fly to Mexico to get have surgery on her tush.
Yeah, I like that. So she's like, they're like, well, did the city pay for that? She's like, well, which one, the flight or the procedure? And it's she goes, well, actually, okay, yeah, it was both. It was both. Just so we're gonna be looking for a new mayor in Noire. Right. So, I guess anyway, we find out, waitress at the restaurant. What was her name? Sherry. That's right. Come to find out.
Wait a minute. Is that right? Cherry. So,
yeah.
So all along, Cherry, kind of weird gal here. Her brother's missing and she's sometimes bubbly and
just upbeat and
not really like
she was like helping along too.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was helping the investigation, but then we found out why, right? Like she was trying to throw the scent off, like, oh well, it was probably this Scarecrow Tech. They found his truck out there. It was probably it could have been the mayor. It could have been the sheriff. So she's trying to just throw everyone off because deep down she knew Lucky's in Vegas. He's a Elvis impersonator, but the campaign for mayor had raised quite a bit of money, and the diner was in trouble. So she was using that money to keep the diner afloat. So now Cherry's in a bit of trouble.
I don't know why. Like people aren't there always getting. She serves the best meals. I mean, right. Runza's. Come on. Those are the best. Runzas and bowls of chili with cinnamon rolls.
I was going to ask you about this chili on the cinnamon roll thing.
Well, it's not chili on the cinnamon roll. You have your bowl of chili and you have a cinnamon roll. So you can eat your chili and eat your cinnamon roll. As from Waverly, Nebraska. Funny, we all went to the same high school here. We all worked together. That's what we were served. We were served a bowl of chili and a cinnamon roll. I suppose it's dessert, right? Our little protein and then our little sweet treat. But we wiped that bowl clean with that cinnamon roll when we're done with it. And funny. So Runza restaurants are here in Nebraska. They were established here.
Okay.
They serve Runzas, which is a German sandwich. It's like a cabbage, onion, hamburger seasoning, and it's baked in fresh bread, it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious. But Runza also does the cinnamon rolls and chili.
Okay.
So Runza restaurants. Okay. Nebraska is, it's not a state for everybody,
Sure.
But it's not just a flyover state. We've got exciting things going on here. We are really our campus is smack dab in between a soybean field and a corn field.
Yep.
We have a Runza in town.
Stands for something.
Absolutely.
No, I've visited Waverly a couple times. It's one of those towns you like to visit. You know what I mean? It's just like you get the feeling, like you had already said, everybody knows everybody. Everybody's super friendly. So it's not like you get, I don't know how to describe this. So in traveling, sometimes you walk in a place and you absolutely understand immediately that everyone knows you're not from there. Right? It's just like, huh. And then it's like, look outside. What's he driving? Okay. All right. What plate? Missouri.
What plate does it have on
Missouri
it? Yep.
place. That's interesting.
Oh, there's no front plate. Well, they're not from here.
Yeah.
Because we require a front and a back plate.
Oh, well, see, so for us, it's well, it depends. Trucks are front plate only, no back plate. So, but it is a Missouri plate on the truck when I pulled into the gas station. But it also is like a friendly, like, how's it going? How you doing? Like, no one actually said, like, why are you here? But they're like, huh, new guy in town. All right. But Missouri place. He's probably not sticking around. He's just passing through. Okay. But it's a friendly place. Right. So
yeah, and so we have with our team, we travel all over the country. We do a lot of sports construction work, nets, and industrial fence. So we're sending crews out all over the country, and so we understand the guys staying at the hotels, going to the diners.
Yep.
So it's all, again, it's real life here in this little drama of ours.
Well, it's funny how cafes or diners are like that, right? So we've got a cafe down the street. I actually had breakfast there this morning.
I've eaten there.
Yes, that's right. The College Street Cafe.
Yep.
It's been there since I was a kid. It's been there since. So when we bought this building, we got a bunch of different documents with it that people had just found over the years. One of them was like, I want to say it was from the 60s, a kind of like a hand-drawn chart of the area sort of thing. And it had the cafe on it. Right there at the intersection of College and Kansas. Yep.
Nice.
But it used to be a motor park right next door. Now it's a gas station. But the cafe's still there. So.
Well, I know we pulled up and we went in and had lunch, and it was like, I bet people know that we're from out of town.
Well, but see, they're used to it. So we are on Route 66. It goes right in front of the office, right past the cafe. So people come in. It's like a whole thing to start in Chicago and then wind up in California, or start at California, Santa Barbara, and make your way up to Chicago. So there's like a map that people just like put pins in on where they're from and all this.
Oh, yeah.
So they're pretty used to folks just passing through. So but the folks that are always there know each other. You know what I mean? So it's also like, hey, how's your mom? How's the kids? And what's the Larry the Cable Guy always said? How's your mom and them? That's always.
He actually lives here. He actually lives in our school district.
Really?
In the Newari school district, yes.
Everybody's somebody in Newari. Everybody's from there.
That's
right. But
if his kids went to public school, they'd go to our school.
Okay, that's a big if. That's a big
right.
if. But so hearing the diner made me think a lot about the cafe, because it's like there's two servers that one works, like they each work 3 days a week. So it's you're gonna have one or the other, and they know everything. Like they know all the drama, all the as my daughter would say, they know all the tea, and they spill the tea all the time. So it's one of those places I love them, and I say this with love. But you don't say anything in there that you don't want everyone else knowing, sort of thing. But anyway. So, but
you do
I get that from
look around.
Yeah, yeah, maybe not here. Well, let's talk about it on the way back to the office. How about that? but so Cherry kind of strikes me as that kind of person in the diner. She knows everything. She's talking to everybody, but. Ultimately, she's trying to lead the search astray because she's trying to keep this diner open. Now, which leads me to wonder, diner's probably gone. Because she's got some campaign finance problems now. So she took campaign money, which can't be good. So she's probably going to meet the sheriff here in a little bit. And diner's probably done. Now, where's everybody going to eat? That was the only place people ate.
It's the only place.
Even when he took the guys for steak dinners, they went to Sherry's. That's where everybody is.
I wonder if the bowling alley had any place to eat.
If they didn't before, they do now. That's got to be it. They're going to fire up the oven. Yeah, it's not just pretzels anymore. The pretzels and what else did our bowling alley had?
Not just bar food.
Yeah, I think we only had two things. We had pretzels and we had nachos and cheese. And the cheese came in those like silver bags where you just heated it up and like
you gotta pump it out and you open your bag of.
You're like, well, it kind of looks like cheese, like I guess.
He's like substance. She's like substance.
Yeah. So, but maybe they're going to fire up a restaurant. You never know.
We actually eat pretty well here in Nebraska.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're
We've
known
got
for
some
the
good.
beef.
We've got some good beef.
Yeah, I was going to say. It's good. Now, I've had some of those steaks when we came up. Gosh, when was that? The fence installation school. Is it 4 years ago? 3 years ago?
2020, I think, wasn't it? Because
Would have been pre-pandemic.
No. 2021.
Okay.
2021 because there was no fence tech that year. They had closed. I believe it was supposed to be in Nashville, and they didn't do that. So we opened our campus up and used our sponsorship money that we would have filtered down to fence tech, and we opened up our campus and did a whole on the road training for the AFA.
Yeah.
And that was actually just right out here where our new buildings are. Because it was just up the road before, but now we have several new buildings up here.
And now you're spread out a little bit more.
We're spread out a little bit more. Yes.
So, and one thing though was, you guys fed everybody steaks from, it was from Matt's family's place, right?
Yes.
Oh man. I mean, Ken's here. So I'm going to say hello to everybody here in just a second, but I did see Ken pop up. So Ken can appreciate a good steak. I mean, Ken's the meat man. So he can appreciate a good steak. I think even he would say this was a really good steak.
Yep.
So let's do this. So we've recapped season 1. Lucky's not missing anymore. He's in Vegas. He is an Elvis impersonator. Let's put a pin in that for a second. Let's say hello to a few people.
Okay.
Guys, while we're saying hello to folks, put your guesses in on season 2, or just where do you think we're going to go? Because I'll let you in on a secret. Me and Rachel don't know either. Okay. I didn't know what was in the final episode until I heard it with everybody else on my way in. So
I watched or listened to the episodes as they came out. Yeah. I could have had an opportunity. Except for that last one, I could have.
They kept that one under wraps.
Yeah.
Well, because they sent me and Matt all of them so that we could do the recaps, right? So I could listen ahead a little bit, which got a little dangerous. Well, Matt learned too. It got a little dangerous because you could
spill the beans.
He spilled the beans a little bit.
Yeah.
But so they learned their lesson. They didn't give any of us the episode 8. They're like, no, you can do the live recap on this one.
Right. I had visited with some folks, and I asked them, I'm like, well, did you listen to the last one? Because I don't want to like spill the beans, because some people are waiting because they're like binge watchers. Like when you get on a Netflix show, they want to watch it all. They don't have that. We've been programmed to want, to not be able to wait. So there's a lot of people that, I'm gonna listen to it from start to finish all at one time. So I was very careful this week, even with people in our office. I'm like, oh wait, did you finish? Because I'm not going to say anything until you did. I don't want to give the.
Because it came completely out of left field, whichever the one that no one expects.
Left field.
Yeah. Well, it could be right field. I mean, I don't think you expect it from right field either. But anyway, neither here nor there. So I had sent Matt a text like Tuesday as I'm driving in. As I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like and I said I'm going to save this for Saturday. But holy cow! Like I did not see it coming that he didn't actually disappear, and that she had just been laying out all of these random breadcrumbs to get everyone to chase different directions. But
we also need to tell our listeners, like, the story's not over when the credits start rolling. The story's not over. So listen till your next podcast jumps in, because there's still a little bit of there's a cliffhanger there.
There's a teaser at the end. There's a teaser at the end. Now, one thing we do, so before we say hello to everybody, and we are going to do that, but I want to put a pin in season 1. So there was a $25,000 reward. Well, Billy got it, right? Billy and Jackson both Billy got it, really. Jackson wasn't involved in that part. But Billy said, no, this is where we learn. Billy's come a long way. Because he said, you know what? Give it to the guys. Just spread it out equally among the guys. I think they've deserved it. They've battled through this project, getting it done, from all these setbacks and all this adversity, they got it done. So just spread it out with the guys. What a class act.
Yes.
He was listening to Matt the Miracle
on
his radio.
Yes, he was.
All right. So, guys, let us know what you think. Season 1, where do you think Season 2 is going? Just let us know if you heard the tidbit at the end. Don't say what it was. Just, did you hear it? Because we want everyone to go hear it. But did you hear it? So, all right, let's go up to the front. Let's go up to the top. Josh Hargrave was here before everybody. So he actually was here before I got on. Said, good morning. Good morning, Josh. Appreciate you stopping in. He came, let's see. Robert Looker says, hey, how goes it, my dude and dudettes?
Aww.
Hello, Robert. Spring Valley Fence Company, happy Saturday. Absolutely is. No matter where in the country you are, it is a Saturday for sure. Ken Throckmorton says, good morning. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning, Ken.
Michael Greenfield, good morning, Joe from the STL. Hope the family is doing well. Great content as always. Michael, thank you so much. Craig Eubank says, good morning. Good morning, Craig. Guys, if you're listening or if you're looking for more fencing content to listen to, you should absolutely check out Craig's it's Fence Guy Friday. Fence Guy Friday. I almost said Ask a Fence Guy Friday. Fence Guy Friday on Eubanks Fence every Friday has great guests on. You should check them out. Front Rock Fences, our friends to the north. Good morning, Joe and Rachel. I love the Unhinged podcast.
Aw, maybe the next season should take a trip to Calgary.
Well, how did I hear this the other day? It's not Calgary.
Oh, sorry.
Calgary. Come on. It's not Calgary. It's Calgary. Which maybe they just say that to see who will say it. Probably. It's like the whole Monkey Island thing. Have you ever actually figured out why they call that place Monkey Island? Because I know what they tell the tourist, but I wonder this is a tourist story, and I'm 99.999% sure this is absolutely untrue. But this is what they tell people. There used to be, it was like a drive-through animal park and so they had monkeys, but then the monkeys got loose and took to the trees and they could never get them all. And so for a while there were monkeys all over the island. So they called it, and it's not actually an island. It's like a peninsula.
It's like a peninsula.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it was Monkey Peninsula. That's why. So monkeys running everywhere. Now.
Hey, can I do a little plug?
Yes.
The AFA, the Midwest chapter, will have their annual golf tournament. So if anybody wants to do some sponsorships, you can go to our Facebook page and click on the little link on there and to do the sponsorships. I think it had went off yesterday, but it's fixed. So you can continue to sponsor and join us down in on Monkey Island. It's beautiful setting. Just
Shangri-La Resort.
Yeah, and if you don't golf, that's okay. We'll have a meeting, a chapter meeting, and we'll have some great conversation. And it's just nice to see our friends.
Yeah, so we're golfing Friday during the day. The meeting is Friday evening, meeting and dinner, and it is going to be an incredible dinner.
And it's sponsored, so you don't have to pay for the dinner.
Yep. Dinner with the meeting. So, yeah, if the idea is if you don't want to golf or listen, I get it. You can't take off Friday, but you can make it down for Friday dinner and the meeting. By all means, come on then. So that's kind of how that's kind of how the thought process worked for how to do everything is if you could take off, come golf. If not, come down for dinner and the meeting.
Right.
And it's going to be phenomenal dinner. Let me tell you. It's all like a whole hog, right? Or a whole pig.
I think so.
Yeah.
And it's still warm. It's still warm down there, so you can still sit in the pool.
Yeah. It's 93 today. So it's going to be, it'll be warm. So, yep, that's kind of been our thing is, so after the meeting, there's a group of us that all kind of goes down to the pool, and there's like a fire pit. Now, if it's 93 degrees, we're not going to sit by the fire pit, but we'll find a place down there, and there's like some drinks and some cigars and some just good old fence fam talk. So if you're coming down, plan for that. We'll all sit around and kind of hold it in like a unofficial meeting after the official meeting.
Right.
Do that. Yeah, I tell you what, that Shangri-La, just to take a second to talk about it, what a facility.
It's really beautiful.
Holy cow. Yeah. Like if you're into tennis, great news. Tennis all over the place. If you're into pickleball, fantastic news. Pickleball all over the place. Wiffle ball, yep. They've got a wiffle ball diamond.
Kids arcade. Well, okay, let's just be real. Yep. Kids and or adult arcade.
I was just going to call it an arcade because
an arcade, yeah.
Yeah, when we're there are
kid
more
friendly,
adults than
right?
kids in that place.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a full arcade.
Beautiful lake, fishing.
Yeah, from the Anchor, which is right there next to the hotel, which is where all the arcades there, tennis, pickleball, wiffle ball, the whole thing. Also, there's a bar. Also, there's a kitchen to where you could sit there. Great food, great views. I mean, obviously, a really nice pool. It is an incredible family-friendly destination for sure. So
yeah. So come on down.
Knows, you might see a monkey. I never.
You
have.
might.
Rachel, have you ever seen a monkey on Monkey Island?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I mean,
it's true.
And I want people to know that you don't. If you're not a member of the AFA, come. It's okay. Yeah. We still want you to come.
Oh, it's open to everybody. Anybody and everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're in a different chapter or region, it's okay. We want you there too.
Come on over.
No, I think we get points for that.
Yeah, the more fenced folks we can get there, the better. Members, non-members, other chapters, whomever, come on. It's going to be a great time. It's on a Friday evening, so that I think the plan is most everyone either heads home Saturday or bring their family down, and then Saturday, Sunday turns into a family weekend at the Shangri-La. Not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time for sure. Also, since we're wearing our Midwest AFA caps for the moment, after the golf tournament, you'll hear more information about this. But if you're in the St. Louis area, we're going to be hosting a dinner up in St. Louis, I believe early November, first weekend in November, I believe. Don't hold me to that, but that sounds right to me. So the Midwest AFA is starting to branch out. All right, so not everyone lives in Oklahoma. For example, Rachel and myself. But so we're going to start branching out, trying to bring the Midwest AFA. That's one of the beauties and the problems with the Midwest chapter is it is spread out.
We have a large footprint.
Right. It's like, and nothing against them. They're great guys. But like Garden State, that sort of thing, it's like everyone's right there. Maybe not right there, but they're also not 2 or 3 states away. Right. So, and pretty big states too. Right. So we've got Oklahoma, parts of Arkansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Kansas, and Iowa. Not a small territory. So
no.
One of the things we talked about on the board as a board is trying to reach more areas of that region for dinners and get-togethers, that sort of thing. So if you're in an area that's in the Midwest chapter, so any one of the states I said, and you would like to have a dinner closer to you, let us know. We're always happy to entertain the possibility and figure out about getting a chapter event up in your neck of the woods, sort of thing. All right, Midwest AFA hat off, but not hat off, but anyway, we'll switch gears. Donovan Keith Ford says, "Morning, you two. See you in Vegas. Look forward to catching up." Unfortunately, Keith, I won't be in Vegas. So the Midwest or the West Coast Fence Show is the week before, and if you know anything about, and now it's in Reno. So it's not Vegas, but that's also a long time to be in that particular part of the country. It's 3-4 days. It's just about right. So 2 weeks is probably a bit much. But.
Well, Keith, you can come see me because we're dividing and conquering.
There you go.
So Matt will be in Reno and Rachel will be in Vegas.
There you go. Okay. All right.
Obviously, you know where the place to be is in, right?
Moving on. Shane Catton says, "What's up, y'all?"
Hey, Shane.
Hello, Shane. President of the Indy chapter. So Shane was at the mid-year meeting for the presidents and president-elects portion of the meetings. So Shane, good to see you up there. Rachel, maybe you know what this is about. So Ken says, "Heard a rumor about 2025."
So this is just my guess. Matthew spoke to Ken last week.
Okay.
In New Jersey.
Okay.
So Matt, as we all know, is pretty honestly, I think he's been abducted because I haven't seen him. But I
Maybe
would
Ken was the
I
last
would
person to
venture to
talk to him.
say, you know, Matt just loves Ken, and
Yeah.
so I'm sure he just told Ken anything about any kind of planning or whatnot. So I'm sure he let the beans loose with
No, that
Ken,
doesn't sound
because
like
he's
Matt. That doesn't sound like the Matt we know and love.
no. So I'm sure Ken got an earful and knows exactly Ken probably knows more than me.
Right. There's a decent chance. There's a decent chance.
Yes.
Shane confirms
Ken's meat.
hashtag Ken's Meats.
Mhm.
Yep. Ken says, same with the Northern Ohio Clay Pew Pew, same day in Medina, Ohio. I know Ken. And listen, Pew Pews, I get it. Pew Pews are more fun. But we're here to talk about Midwest, okay? Now, if you guys are in the Ohio area, you should definitely check out the Sporting Clay Pew Pew. That's
Yes.
what we have to say on social media. But yeah, it sounds like a great event. All this stuff happens like on this at the same time. So this actually came up at the mid-year meeting, was like, can we have a national calendar that just like has things like where people are having them? Because also Carolina by the Seas is the same weekend. And it is, oh man, I'm trying to remember. So we went down, a buddy of mine, we had his bachelor party out there. So where they're having it, and man, I'm trying to think. So we stayed out where they're having the Carolina by the Seas. Beautiful part. I mean, that part of the country in itself is beautiful, but I'm trying to think. It's I follow them on social media and I saw where they're having. I was like, oh, that's exactly where we stayed for the bachelor party.
Mhm.
Anyway, I am jealous that everyone is having these fun things on the same weekend. But if you're in our area, if you're in our region, and you don't want to go see Ken, which I get it if you do, but if you don't, come see Rachel and I. We'll be at the Shangri-La. It's a beautiful
So
place.
if you're up north, go see Ken. If you're
That's
mid of
right.
the country, come see us.
Come see us.
And if you're on the East Coast, go to
see
the
Carolinas.
Carolinas.
But if you're West Coast, Southern, Gulf, any of those, you can just come see us. And then everyone else can go see one of them. Yeah. That's basically how it is.
If you're in Texas, come see us.
Oh, 100%. Or any of the Gulf Coast. I mean, well, I guess Florida might go to Carolinas. Okay. But like Alabama, Louisiana, I mean, you can just come on up. Shangri-La, Monkey Island. I can't guarantee that you'll see monkeys, but there is a story going around that there were monkeys on this peninsula at some time. So you never know. Craig, I think we answered it. Will you guys both be in Vegas this year? Rachel will be, but I will not, because it's 2 weeks is a long time. It just really is. And it's like Labor Day weekend is right in the middle, and not to toot my own horn, but my birthday is right in between those two too. So I would have to come home, do that, and then go back. I'm like, I don't know. Not this year. Not this year. Shane's got it right. Monkeying around on Monkey Island. Isn't that the truth? So Shane was there. Shane was there for Tony's summit. Was it a summit? Tony's event at the Shangri-La.
It was the big conference.
Yeah. Yep.
The winter conference. Yep.
Yeah, we had the Gate Safety Summit. Yeah, and the winter conference. That's right. So, yeah, Shane's been there. It's not a bad place to be. It is a lot of fun. So, come out and join us. All right, guys. Any speculation? Season 2. Because Rach and I are just going to start guessing at stuff. So, you might as well guess too. Because none of us, we are all on the same page now.
Right.
Super Summit. That's right. All right. So, Rachel, where do you think Season 2 goes? I'm asking you because I don't know. I was just going to have you say something, and I agree with it.
I think we're going to have to search for Matt. Like, I think we're going to have to put a APB out for Miracle Matt, because he is missing.
Matt the Miracle?
I'm thinking that there's something shady going on with Scarecrow Tech. I don't know what it is. You guys have to listen to the end of the credit. On the other side of the credits, there's a cliffhanger, so we got to figure this all out together. Sounds like some pretty there's big things.
Yep. Definitely unresolved. I mean, Scarecrow's the big one, right? Obviously, I mean, Jarvis. Well, it's not Jarvis anymore. What was the name? Not Jarvis.
Not Jarvis. That's the
scanner. Yeah, definitely not that. But when he came in, the scanner. Well, the scanner's gone anyway because he met someone on vacation, and now they're traveling.
Victoria's Secret bot.
That's right. They're traveling the world, server by server. But anyway, they've got technology that was telling like blood pressure. One point it was
Kidney
bladder.
function? Kidney function, maybe even was it?
That might be it. I need to go back. I need to go re-listen to it because apparently I did not.
Or maybe I'm just making that up. I don't know.
You guys are gonna have to watch to find out too.
Yeah.
Or listen. It's gonna be hard to watch it, but it could also tell you like bladder function. So when Billy got arrested, he didn't use the bathroom the whole time he was there, so he had to use the facilities, and it said like your bladder is at 105% or something. So it does that. It does a lot of tech stuff, but there's also like weird animal screams coming from this place, and like I said, earthquakes that then we've had
earthquakes here. Okay. One time that I can remember, but I was sleeping. I heard about it when I got up.
Well, this one was at night.
See?
Okay.
Plate tectonics.
Well, this one she said was a testing error or a testing mistake or something like that. Testing accident, maybe.
Okay.
So you got that going on. The sheriff was up to no good. So surely she's gone by this point because, I mean, using taxpayer money to fund, surgeries in Mexico.
Augmentations.
That's never good. And then this like shady land deal. Like, what's that got to do with anything? What's going on this 500 acres? Like, it's getting fenced, but nobody said like what it's for. That's going on.
And what's up with Ben, really?
What else does Ben do? Like what? He's the pro-am bird watcher gets me. Like he's a jack of all trades. But we're gonna have to have a mayor, right? And I don't think the fence job isn't done.
Right.
I believe. So I mean the wire just got dropped off, so it's not done. You've got that going on, this new joint venture. So hopefully we're going to dive into the inner workings of the joint venture. So I can see that coming up, kind of explaining through example of what a joint venture looks like. But is Lucky coming back? Like what's going on? Like everyone's been looking for Lucky. Is he going to come back or is he not? What's going to go on with Lucky?
Right.
Who knows?
Maybe I'll find him in Vegas.
Maybe. Does Jackson get back in the fence game? Because he's got a little taste of it now. Maybe. I'm hoping so because I really enjoy it. So I'm hoping Jackson gets like really into the fence game. So at least sticks around as like a consultant or something. I just want to be involved in this because this was so much fun. It was a great time.
You know what? I tell you what, Joe, when we first did our table read and I'm like, okay, well, I might play a couple parts. I've got, the script and I'm going to read and I practice. I'm like, well, I think that was okay. And then this was just the table read and we started getting online with all they're professionals.
Oh yeah.
This was professionals, professional writers, professional actors and actresses. And I tell you what, when everybody showed up and they had their fancy, cubes that they were in the studios, and they came with all of this inflection and they were really in character. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm awful. So intimidating.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one that was like, I am out of my depth in this.
I know. They are so good. And I'm so grateful for all those actors and actresses that jumped into this project with us. They really did a great job. And, and especially just grasping a little bit of our industry and pulling that out into a story. Like, they don't know anything about post pounding and,
right.
dry pack and wet set. And they don't know any of that. And we kind of give them just little nuggets of some fun things in the industry and they pulled it off.
I tell you, Brad and his team knocked it out of the park. Absolutely knocked it out of the park. It was so fun to be a part of it. It's so fun to listen to. So, and that's the other part too, is like, as you're recording it, you're only recording your lines in your part, right? So and sometimes you get some context of, hey, this just happened, so this is where you're at, that sort of thing. But to hear it, like the whole story come together, it was so great.
It's seamless. It's seamless.
Well, the final episode, I knew that the JV happened, and I knew that the Wire, and I knew about that. No idea that Lucky was actually in Vegas. That wasn't my part. Like, they literally sent me my part of each one of the segments.
Right.
So no idea. Like when we said that we are just in the dark as everyone else, we meant it. I mean, granted, we knew our little snippets. Okay. But anyway, to hear the whole story come together, a lot of fun.
It was fun. And, you know, it was kind of quirky, kind of stupid in some area and aspect, but that was the point.
Yeah, that's the fun part of it.
That's the fun part of it. It was supposed to be loose and inviting and kind of quirky. That was the point. We're supposed to be kind of mimicking life through this with a story and keeping it light and funny. Yet there was nuggets of good content and things that everybody struggles with in their businesses on a daily basis. And I hope everybody knows this is more of a gift from the My Salesman team to the industry than anything else, just to try something new and go about something differently. I have never heard of a Vince mystery audio drama ever.
No, yeah. So, yeah. Well, that's the thing. When Brad first had the idea, or no, it was Matt that told me about it first. Cause like, I remember he had come up and he was like, hey, I've got an idea. I'm in. Like, do you want to hear about it? Sure. That's fine. But I'm in. Like, whatever. If you think it'll be great, then your ideas are 100% as far as I'm concerned. So let's go. He's like, okay, it's the industry's first audio drama. Okay, I'm going to need you to define an audio drama first. I think I know what this is, but I want to make sure I understand what we're talking about. And then we just started it just like they had their idea, but they started letting me in on little pieces of it. It's like, oh, this is going to be so good. Yeah.
No, it was a lot of fun. And you know, I don't know how to promote it any more than we have, but so sorry if you've gotten blown away with like Facebook posts at all, but we sure do want to share it with everybody, and we would like everybody to listen to it because it is fun. It's different. It reminds me of the days when the family sat around the radio and listened to the dramas, you know, because we didn't have any TV. Yeah. Well, sorry, not my era. I've always had a TV. Let me just not go back that far. But you know what? Sometimes when life was just a little bit less, you know, high pace, let's just take it down a notch and like, let's enjoy something that's different and get us back to our roots.
Well, and as a kid, I mean, granted, we weren't all sitting around the radio, but we were sitting around the TV because that was back in the day when you actually had to watch your show at a certain day and a certain time. Right? There was no of this, like, I mean, on demand. What is this? You know, TiVo was like revolutionary, and only like we didn't have it because it cost a lot of money. So I had a friend that had it, and he showed me how this magic worked. But no, I mean, you just knew that your show was on at Tuesday at 7 or like whenever it was, and Lord help you if someone else had a show the same time and they outranked
on a different channel. I mean, we've had like 3 channels.
Yeah.
I mean, that's and we lived in the country, so there was no cable, there was no satellite unless you had those ginormous satellite dishes that you know
look like you're bouncing a signal off the moon.
Right? So I really hope everybody enjoyed it. That it was really meant to be a gift. And if you know anything about how our culture is here under the Empire Netting and Fence umbrella, which includes My Salesman, Unlimited Sports Solutions, Empire Supply Company and Fabrication, like we're all about the company culture and taking care of not just people in our our family, our organization of companies, but we want to extend that out to the industry. We
Sure.
want to take care of those out in the industry as well. And that was kind of a part of this whole thing too.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, and I think, I appreciate it. I think it was great. And, so shout out to the My Salesman team for making that happen. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I tell you, Structure to Grow,
Yeah.
Brad and Ryan and their team, they are outstanding. And when they came to Matt when Brad talked to Matt about this idea, and, Matt is one that he always jumps in feet first and says, yep, let's do it. Let's go. But I absolutely had the confidence in Brad to, there you go.
Hey.
Ryan Cash. Hey, what's up, guys? See,
What's up, Ryan?
we don't want to leave out Ryan or Brad because this was definitely a labor of love for them too, I think. And not just in the fence industry, but, just the production of the program itself was a labor of love, and everybody got into it. And so, no, thank you, Ryan. It was so much fun, and I can't wait to do season 2 and see what their crazy minds can think of.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Well, Rachel, we're at about an hour and a half now, so let's start landing the plane. But before we do, let's take a minute to talk about My Salesman. So My Salesman made it possible for us to have Unhinged, the search for Lucky Picket.
Lucky Picket for mayor, remember?
Yep. But there was Unhinged was brought to you by My Salesman. Let's take a second to talk about My Salesman.
Okay.
So Ozark Fence loves My Salesman. Absolutely. But we just got upgraded to the new version, like a 2.0 version of My Salesman.
Yes.
Can you walk everyone through, because I'll forget something, but can you walk us through what the new version 2.0 of My Salesman looks like?
Oh, absolutely. So as on the user end of the user experience, is going to be the same for your homeowners. So they're going to be able to easily go on, enter in their contact information, draw where their house is, and get their budget. So that's going to look very similar. And we have 80% to 90% of all of our My Salesman clients migrated over to 1.0. There's some things that we're trying to clean up and fix, as they're coming up, which happens with all new software. So that's nothing new. It doesn't move at the rate that we would like it to move, just because, we're in the business of getting things done. Coders, on the other hand, they have more banker type hours when we work all the time. So that being said, we're fixing just a little tweaks and things there. But as the user experience, there's added additions as far as we're giving everybody advertising space.
Yep.
So, and you can use that advertising space if you want to do kind of an upsell, or maybe you sponsor something in your community, your local church, or Cherry's Diner or something. You're sponsoring something in your community, and you want to give that sponsorship space to help your community. As if your church or school's having a local bake sale, why not throw some advertising space? Not every sponsorship is monetary, right? And we talk about that on the Fence Professionals pages all the time. About, hey, how can you support small business? It's not always monetary. It's a good review. It's a sharing of something here, or sharing of something there on social media. So you can use your advertising space for that as well. So we also have service area. So that's only going to allow your users to add in addresses that are specifically in your service area. Yep. So, and Kelsey, Grant, and I can help you guys with that as well. There's a grid overlay that actually goes over the layout of the image. So just a lot of cool aspects on that end as a user, but on the back end, it's kind of blown up. The front end is just so tidy and neat, but the back end, you totally have a new strategic marketing experience. So you have your reports, but your reports are actually on steroids because you can do different kinds of filters, different kinds of queries. You can drop them all on a map. Every single client you have, you can drop on a map, and you can have this map that shows where every single lead has come through. And when I talk about strategic marketing, you know that, okay, well, I have all these clients over here in this area, but this area is a growing market. I need to get something in this area. And this is, folks, this is just by glancing at your page. You don't have to look at spreadsheets and make filters through, the townships and whatnot. You can look at your map and say, we need it in this area. Let's go. You can use that for strategically. We have a status now. Every single lead that comes through, you can give a status. So at a glance how many leads have come in and how many of those have sold on your dashboard. It will give you those datas. If Matt comes to our guys here at Empire and says, how many customers have we had come through my salesman? How many leads? Well, it's not just us, and it's not just you, Joe. I believe it's really the majority of contractors using my salesman. They are using my salesman as a mandatory first step. And whether or not that customer goes through on their own, or we do it, we put their information in the office because of these additional data that we're receiving and putting on our my reports page, and being able to use that data for I'm going to just use a term, data farming.
Sure.
Right. Where huge corporations like to use that data that they're getting. Hey, how'd you hear about us? Right.
Yep.
And we're actually tracking what material people are clicking on. So you can go to your reports page and see, oh my gosh, I've had, 6,000 vinyl leads or 4,000, aluminum leads. So what material, of course, you're going to know what's selling in your market anyway, but it validates that. Right. So it also puts in the process, okay, well, vinyl is our biggest that's our material that is really what people in our area want. So let's make sure we have it all the time. Let's make sure we have our trucks coming in and we have areas to store it and that kind of thing. So it's all the little things that we're getting on these report pages that make a huge splash. And I know Matt's talked about it time in and time again. We talked about it at the beginning of this program about everybody's kind of in the same spot. So what it really boils down to is efficiencies, right? How fast can we get that customer off the market? How fast can we get it sold and in the ground and move on to the next one? So this, your reports page is really going to help keep you efficient.
Sure.
And just in that process, everybody should. If you don't have my salesman, I don't know why. You need it because it's a great way to have your customers be able to get budgetary information. And it's not even a question of competing with somebody else in your market. It's just catering to what your customers are used to and what they need.
Sure. Well, and it's saving time, fuel, saving all of that. We can do 8 or 10 phone consultations in a day and not really feel too stressed about it. They filled out a quote tool. We looked at it. We sent them a scheduling link. We had a conversation on the phone. We'll verify the measurements a lot of times just with the GIS. We'll overlay it so that the customer feels comfortable that the measurements are accurate. I mean, we've used it long enough now to where we just understand it's accurate. I mean, as long as it's drawn correctly. Sometimes we'll redraw it because we'll say, okay, well, you didn't go all the way out to the back line, or you didn't come all the way up, to where your fence was on the house, or whatever it was.
Right.
But if the drawing's correct, the measurements are accurate. Right. So now if we can do 8 to 10 in a day, we cannot do 8 to 10 on-site. One person, at least in our market, cannot do 8 to 10 on-site appointments in a day. There aren't enough hours in the day. When you figure it takes a half hour to drive out there, every bit of a half hour to 45 minutes to walk the property, to learn about it, to not make it feel rushed, to write up the proposal, hand it to the customer. It's every bit of 45 minutes. And then either half hour back or 15 minutes to the next spot. It's an hour 20 per appointment.
Right.
So not stopping for fuel, not stopping for lunch, not stopping. 4 to 5 a day is typically what we'll see for on-site appointments. So you can double the amount of output in proposals, 8 to 10 people. You can generally get to them faster because you're getting through 8 to 10 a day instead of 3 or 4 a day, 4 or 5 a day. And to your point, you can typically bring them off the market faster than if you were doing on site. So a lot of times we'll hear this, that we have talked to the customer, got them the initial proposal, had a phone conversation, got them a firm proposal, contract, deposit, before our competitors will reach out to schedule the appointment.
Right. Efficiency.
You can't tell me that isn't a competitive edge. And we're saving on fuel, which is not cheap, regardless of where in this country you live. Mileage, wear and tear on trucks, that sort of thing. So it's a win-win, right? And for the price of, depending on your vehicle, either a tank or 2 of fuel.
Right. No, absolutely.
You'll spend that in a week driving around, depending on the market, but we'll go through a tank or 2 of fuel a week just driving around to all these appointments. So it's a no-brainer. Now, I'll say this, Rachel. So if someone had gotten a demo, at FinTech 2 years ago, it would probably be a good idea to get a new demo to see the back end. All the data. The data is the big thing, right? Just the view, having access to it, but also the different ways to view the data.
Right. The data mining. No, if you've seen it in the past and need a refresher, you can go to our website at mysalesman.com and click on the demo and just get the user experience. The user experience being your customers going to your website. Sure. Of course, it's always all branded. But I just lost my train of thought. That come and Kelsey and Grant and I would walk you through, and we've got some pretty good, Ryan's made some really good visuals on our website. That's another thing. Structure to Grow has actually made these really great images, and then we work with .com, and our teams just all work together. So that's the kind of people you have. Let me just give a little plug for .com and Structure to Grow. We're not just separate entities, trying to build your business. We're all on the same page, and they all want us to win, and we all want them to win. And we have these meetings, all of us together, and we help each other out. So just a little plug for .com and Structure to Grow. They really help us do this and pull this off for our marketing and websites and everything like that. But email us at info@mysalesman.com, Rachel at mysalesman.com, Kelsey is KELSEA, not Y, just, FYI. And Grant is new to our team. He's been here 60 days. He's great. He's a great addition to our My Salesman team, and we're really lucky and happy that he's here with us. So, any one of us would be happy to show you around the back end and obviously give you a little, hey, this is what you can do. And it's not just, because we're in software, it's because we're in the fence business.
Sure.
And we enjoy learning together as well. So I learned something from Kane Throckmorton, or I learned something from Joe Everest, and then we show somebody else that, right? So we're trying to allow that tide to rise all ships, and
absolutely
some added value. Because if you guys know Matt, he's very passionate about business. He's very passionate about people. I think we might be the only software company that does a kind of a once a month members meeting where we have some high level conversation about business topics, not not how to install a fence or do this, but how are we going to take care of our people? How are we going to grow our company? And Matt never claims to be, know it all, or
Sure.
he doesn't want to be a coach, but he wants to be a friend in the industry and loves conversation and talking about business. So my Mondays with Matt is the first Monday of every month at 6 p.m. Central. So we invite all of my salesmen members to come and join us. It's a huge value add. I mean, if anybody's checked out what coaching costs, it's an investment in you and your company, but this is relatively, it's free. It's a part of you being a part of the My Salesman family is to come and join. And these are not, easy topics. These are high level, 4 or 5 level classes for businesses.
Absolutely. As just an added benefit of being a customer of My Salesman.
Added benefit. Yep.
I love it. Now, for live demos, so you mentioned you guys are dividing and conquering. So we've got West Coast Fin Show coming up first week in September.
Yep.
We've got the Fin Show in Vegas coming up second week in September. So if you guys are coming to either one of these events, well, then we have FinStech coming up
the Salt
early
Palace.
2025. Yep, at the Salt Palace, absolutely. So if you guys are going to be at any one of the shows, stop by the My Salesman booth. They're pretty hard to miss. Most typically, they're pretty hard to miss. So stop by the My Salesman booth, ask for a demo. Any one of them will be happy to show you around.
And if you're wandering around the West Coast show and Matt's not in his booth because he's going to be there by himself, which is quite possible, he will start to wander. Just take him by the arm and bring him back to the booth, please. I know he's going to be there next to his buddy Mark Olson, next door for Job Nimbus, and around the corner, Steve Bennett. So
he'll be around there somewhere.
Around, just take him by the hand, and he's kind of getting to that age. He may need help finding where he needs to be.
Well, this is
keep him in there.
Rachel, you're assuming we know where Matt is by that point.
This is true. This is true.
We've got from now, which real time, it's August the 17th. So we've got 2 weeks till West Coast Fin Show.
Goodness.
So
yes.
We are down to the wire for sure. So hopefully, fingers crossed, or else you might have to fly somebody else out as a substitute.
I may have to double down and do both shows.
So hopefully we can solve the mystery. We've solved the mystery of Lucky Pickett. Hopefully we can solve the mystery of where's Matt.
Yes, exactly. And just so this was our little inaugural audio drama.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna do something coming up here, and probably in Vegas, so we have a little bit of time. But we might just do some auditions for season 2. So if you are coming to Vegas, come see us. We might just have a little something for you in our booth to take to home. And if you want to read with maybe one of the actors or producers for a special cameo, I think that might be happening. Now, I'm letting a little bit of the cat out of the bag. I guess that
you come by it honestly.
Yes, it's some of that's rubbed off on me. But also, what I did not mention this, Joe, and I really, really want to mention this.
Yeah.
So we actually have a deck tool.
Okay, so Justin mentioned, let's see, My Salesman the Best, highly recommend for all deck and fin stainers. So not only staining. Yeah.
Yes. Deck. So we have a deck build tool and stain tool.
Okay.
So if you guys are offering not just fins, but you want to offer deck as well, it's just since you are a fence client, it's just $25 to add a whole new deck tool that's going to calculate deck as well. Okay. So definitely reach out about that. We've also partnered with Tiger Payment Processor. So if you are wanting to use an amazing company, I'm going to tell you, we have been with the big, I'm not saying names or anything, the big guys, my whole entire fence career here. And I have not talked to a human being one time in a decade of being in the fence world.
Yeah.
So we actually moved over to Tiger.
Okay.
And they are a family-owned, family operation. They are amazing. They're like the my salesmen of the processing world.
Okay.
They will call you, they will text you, they will jump on an online meeting with you. They will help you be more efficient in collecting those payments. And if you're my salesman customer, there are some negotiated lower rates. So you're going to get some savings if you're my salesman customer and you go over to Tiger. So
very nice.
Yeah. So that's
Very
something
nice.
new. And we're trying to get a newsletter together. Not all the newsletters make it to people's mailboxes, which is very unfortunate. This throws in spam or junk.
Yep.
But we've got a lot of stuff going on. We've also got a pressure washing tool now, the deck tool, a roof tool, and I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too much, but another couple tools as well. So,
very nice.
If you guys want to know what's going on, or if you need to add deck, let us know, and we'll get that turned on for a very, very affordable rate.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So for more information, reach out to the My Salesman team. Very good. Very good. One last hello before we sign off. Oh, look at that. Very good. And unhinged. Love it. Noah Divine, what is up, Noah? Good afternoon, Rachel and Joe. Hope everyone is having a great weekend. Thank
Noah,
you so much,
need to call me.
Oh.
Call me, Noah.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to start wrapping this up. We actually have a community show that starts here in about 3 hours that I need to go help set up for. So,
all right.
We'll land the plane here. So, Rachel, thank you so much for coming on. Keep me up to date on the search for Matt.
Well, so this is the only thing that I can possibly think of is whatever situation he is in, he's going to find himself out of it, because he is not going to miss a Monday morning meeting.
That's right. That's right. So somebody's going to find him, or he's going to come walking out of the woods somewhere in time for the Monday morning meeting.
He's going to escape wherever he is, because he will not miss that Monday morning meeting.
If not, I would suggest reaching out to like National Guard, FBI, because something catastrophic has happened.
Something is awry. That's right. I'll keep you posted.
Please do. Please do.
Joe.
Please do. Thank you so much, Rachel, for coming on a Saturday morning. I know this isn't the easiest time segment to get in on, so thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for having me. I kind of snuck in here, right? Looking for Matt.
That's right. That's right. That's right. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching us or listening to us. If you're listening on the podcast, if you are listening on the podcast, consider tuning in next time. We'd love to have you live on the show. Say hello to you in the comments. Ask any questions that might pop up. For now, Joe Everest, the fence expert, and Rachel with My Salesman, reminding you that good fences make good neighbors, and we'll see you next week.